Hello and welcome to session what I believe is 4 for this series of Night's Black Agents done here on the Gauntlet Calendar. My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him. I'm the Gauntlet Gaming Community Manager. And this is part of our monthly set of games we have online that are available that people sign up for. We have a community of people that come in and support our Patreon to do this, but then we also have slots and people can sign up for these games. You know, if you're interested in them, we have an event coming up end of February. That is our Gauntlet Community Open Gaming, which is has about a couple dozen events at this point. It's going to be open for sign up on February 1st, which is next week, and it'll be happening at the end of February. It's something to give people from outside a chance to come and play games, maybe get used to playing online, maybe get used to playing with us. You can find out all about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. All of the details, all the stuff that we have is there. So we're going to go through, we're playing Night's Black Agents with a slightly modified system. If you've watched the previous episodes, you'll know what's going on with that. You also know we are using safety tools. We're using lines and veils, as well as the X card and open door policy. Let's start, though, with a returning introduction to our characters. Let's start with Henry.
Hello, my name is Alan. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm playing Henrietta Michaels, she, her, Henry to our friends, former MI6 agent, honey trap, disguise, infiltration, that kind of thing, into organizations and enemy states. And I guess it's fair to say that Henry is genuinely frightened. She had a close encounter with a vampire that turned into a bloody encounter with a vampire, and so she is very nervous at this point. I think is kind of wetting herself. In terms of advances, I took mine in academic investigative skill because I felt the need of a cult last time and I didn't have much to play with.
Fair enough.
And I've also reserved a slot for another talent.
Okay. And then let's come to James Rook.
Hi, my name's Will, pronouns he, him, etc. As are those of Jimmy Rook. Jimmy Rook is an ex-soldier turned MI5 deniable, MI6 deniable asset, black bagger, a bit of a crook, a bit of a wandering in the shadow world, and as opposed to Henry, he's incredibly bullish because he's seen exactly one of these vampires and they murdered it in a basement. Took a lot of doing, but you know, imagine if we were really prepared. We could take these easy.
That seems like famous last words right there. I like that. And then next, Pavel, we have Carl, who has a new jaunty picture.
Yes. Hello. Good evening. I'm Pavel. I'm playing Carl. We both use pronoun he, him. Carl has a little bit change to his image. He's settling to his new cover identity after the last one has been completely blown and very known to the vampires. He's now settling to be his cover identity Victor Deslis, the French sort of biker / cowboy / guy that tries to look that you don't ask him any questions. He wears the straw hat, leather vest, and like sport long sleeve t-shirt. Total mix of styles. And he shaved his beard, but not like completely. He just now has this like manly, like very tiny little hair on over his face, and looks very attractive. Carl has advanced because I felt the need to do some more research. I like to come more prepared, and I felt the need to do it. So I bought research along with a point into academics so that I can actually use it. And then, as usual, open up a talent. We will see what will come up first to fill the slot.
Okay, that sounds good. And then last but not least is Peter Skellen.
Hello, I'm Paul, he, him, and the character I'm playing is Peter Skellen. also he, him, and Peter is the man in the van, the sort of tech specialist of the group. He can do some things out in the field, but he's predominantly man in the van type material. And Peter's advancement, he sort of mimicked Carl, but in some other areas. So I've got a talent left open. I took the last of the technical abilities that I haven't, that I didn't have, which was survival, urban, and rural. And yeah, that's pretty much his advances all spent.
Excellent. Will, did you say which advances you took?
No, I didn't. I took another talent slot for a talent, so I have 2 undeclared still, 3 general points, and then I picked up an extra spend for extra interpersonal push.
Okay. So I imagine that we see maybe of some kind of farmhouse outside of Paris, some space that you have internet connection and all that stuff, but you've managed to fall back to there. Paris is still hot for you. There's still the ongoing investigation, a version of Henry's picture plastered around in various places, but not a lot of good ID on other things. They probably have a version of Carl that is Michael Zeno rather than Carl, that guy who was killed. The police are still trying to piece all of this together, but you scrubbed a lot of the connecting tissue such that they've got a lot of bits, they've got a lot of rumor, they've got a lot of hearsay, but nothing beyond that explosion, and some photos and things like that, and some other incidents that might tie into that. A sniper attack at a cafe, this accident at catacombs across from a wine shop, some sort of gas main explosion or something. It's unclear what went on there, though there were survivors and they've scattered around. But right now, the heat would go up. But my assumption is that you are going to change locations this session, so I haven't added a bump to that. But I wanted to give you a chance to come in and let's kind of do the same order. Henry, like, you got hit pretty hard during that fight. So what do we see of you when we come in here? Are you inside, outside? Where do we see the evidence of the injuries that have healed?
I think I'm inside, and I think we probably open on Henry standing by a window, using the light from the window to just, renew the bandage, the strapping on her shoulder. And then she turns to face, and we see that she is disguised as a man.
And it's the first time we've seen that particular disguise on
Yeah.
your set of things. I assume lights are brightly on in the room.
My guess is that we've arranged lights, kind of portable lights, to try to cast as little shadow as possible.
And then Jimmy, you took a little bit of a hit last time, as I recall, but not too much.
I got battered around a bit. I got what was it, shaken or?
Okay, yeah. So you had to kind of clear that. So what do we see of you here after a few days of rest?
I think you see me taking off the bandage from my hand from where I cut it, trying to get that thing's head off, and staring in the mirror and probably shaving off his beard and getting ready for the slight changes to cosmetics to fit in with his past. But I don't have a cover identity or anything.
Absolutely. We'll come to that in a second, though. What about for you, Carl? What do we see of you?
I think we see Carl in a bathroom with like shaving blade, and then this like image, like slightly large, like an A4 size, that he's trying to like make for himself. We see that this is the same image he has in his new passport, and he's trying to just shave his beard so that he looks exactly as on the photo. And then we maybe see he's like going through the various clothing and trying to put the stuff that matches the style. Yeah, for Carl doesn't talk much. He usually is quite a cheerful guy, and for him to being quiet shows that he's like internalizing the stuff and thinking about it, and it's his way of dealing with the stress, being like focused and silent, unlike normally like snappy comments, laughing about stuff and other things.
Perfect. And then Peter, who got, as I recall, seriously messed up during that incident.
Yeah, Peter got kicked around on the floor quite a bit by a bunch of nasty cultists, and then scummed over a few times by the vampire. But all's good, because Peter's a master of drugs and medical knowledge. So I think we see Peter in front of his multi-monitor setup, tracking various targets and listening to sort of like police wideband radio, with a drip on one of the classic drip stands, sort of into his arm, big pot of jelly beans, eating them. Not too sure if they're jelly beans or magic beans, who knows? And yes, some heavy metal music playing out loud out of a set of cans.
And I imagine that we have the shot of the older French matron who owns the farm coming over and putting the big pot of soup, dropping bread on the table, and then heading out, kind of studiously not paying any attention to what you're doing. And we can see the four of you kind of gather together to break bread and to talk about where you want to go next. Jimmy, what we come in, what are you saying when the camera comes in here?
Well, I got like, half a mouthful of bread as I speak, right? And I got a beer in the other, little stubby beer in the stubby lager in the other hand, beer d'Alsace or something. And I'm Jimmy's saying, so, I mean, they said to tell you to not to go to Barcelona or Istanbul, but that was before we murdered one of them, before you killed one of them, Henry. So, I think everything's fair game now. But I got to be honest, wouldn't mind taking a crack at the bastards who tried to set us up.
Henry studiously, eating soup very carefully, very politely, crooked finger, just ignoring this conversation at this point.
Yeah, I think Jimmy will take a look with Carl and Peter across the table. At that, like.
I really like your idea. I was like, but our only lead is in Geneva. I would very much like to go and pay them a visit. Maybe learn something more. They seem to know awful lot about us. Why? I think we should learn more about them. So yeah, I like this idea.
I'm going to seem quite annoyed and said, "Who didn't send me the memo? Why are we going to Texas? Carl, why are we dressed for going to Texas? What's with the Texan disguise? Only two things come from Texas."
I just,
Texas? Man, that's hot. That's hot down in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
I thought we were Europe-based. Oh, that's going to take some extra disguise.
Yeah, it's going to fit right in Berlin, honestly.
Carl is trying his like hard American accent, and he says, "Well, Henry told me to practice with the disguise, so I'm like completely changing my style,
Jimmy, he's going to go for the Berlin look. Carl, turn around. Let me see if you've got the backless chaps on.
Yeah.
Okay, so joking aside, so Barcelona?
Well, Barcelona's got Eurydice. It's got Morgaine, as far as we know, and it's got you know, the mole that the aggro's probably got there. What's he called? Narcisse Montserrat.
Yeah, Carl had a plan. He was gonna, didn't you, Carl? You had a plan for some interrogation on somebody?
Yeah, but my plan is about Geneva. I'm not really sure about this Narcisse Montserrat. Maybe we shouldn't like disclose that we know of him. I was hoping to like catch this Brett Bankson and maybe, you know, pump some information from him about Orpheus and the Agro-Wealth. In the meantime, I was thinking that while two of us are like talking with him, the other two can, you know, assume being him and pull some stuff from the Agro-Wealth server. If
That went
he's
so
there,
well last time, didn't it? I look over at Henry. That went really well last time we tried to pretend to be one of these buggers, didn't it, Henry?
Look, we think that Montserrat is working to Brett Bagson, don't we?
He is, yeah. That's what Natalie said anyway.
So let me imagine myself in a room with Montserrat, and I'm saying, I know what you're doing. And I come up with some vague shit about, I think you're spying. That is a very different conversation if we got something solid from Bagson.
Aye, for sure. And to be honest, Bagson's the one who's tried to pin all this on you lot. It wasn't the one who took a shot at you, obviously, that was the other guys, but he was the one who wanted to get us, you know, all with our hands up, make it look as though our hands were all over this. He's the one who put your names around the thing, and also the one who set off the bomb that nearly took my bloody head off. So I reckon, you know, I think that we know how to deal. We've got one set of creepy crawlies on one side, right, in Barcelona. We know how to get them. Who knows what we're dealing with on the other side? I do agree it'd be better to, you know, I was all hot on the chase you know, when we set off from that cave. I was going to go after them, but now I am thinking I'd like to get some revenge on Bagson, find out what he knows, and make him remember who he's messed with.
Geneva it is then.
Yeah, I really like Paris, but it's like too hot. The season is too hot for us in Paris.
So, sounds like Geneva's on the agenda for the next move. So we've got a couple of things that we want to do. I want to do a once around to let people do any kind of preemptive pre-going to Geneva research, on the ground setup, that kind of thing, before we put you on the move. But the other thing I'm going to ask is, you know, exactly what's the legend, what's the cover ID you're using to get into Geneva individually, and you know, how are you traveling together, traveling by rail, all that kind of thing. So I'm gonna come around and do that, because that's a cover roll at that point, because you do have some heat on you. So let's do research first, because that may shape your decision about cover identity, you know, how you want to shape it and so on. Henry, is it okay if I start with you about, like, what do you want to know going into Geneva, or about some of these other topics outside that we've got on the list? I did add some things, as you know, onto that there. I also put a picture of Bankson from the AgriGrowth website on the NPCs.
I want to know more about Bagson, is
Okay.
the truth of it. And I'm thinking some combination of bureaucracy and high society. You know, where does he appear in Geneva society?
Absolutely. I think that's a good call. So go ahead and make that spend from that pool.
Okay. Spend one.
So the basics, Bankson is a Brit with AgriWealth. He came up out of Oxford, and he's been working with AgriWealth for maybe about 12 years now. Before that, it's a little fuzzy. He has a lot of friends. You know, you pull up pictures, things like that. He clearly travels around. He's, as I mentioned last time, he's kind of public relations, publicity for AgriWealth, which gives him a chance. He goes to a lot of conferences and things like that. And you're pretty sure that, I mean, he's clearly a spook. He's clearly an operative. And you think he's running some stuff, like you're pretty sure. The level of contacts that he has, he certainly runs, you know, in Geneva corporate society. That seems to be the circles that he runs in, a little bit of arts and stuff like that, but generally has his fingers around in that. Does that seem like fair info? Give you a sense of things?
Thank you.
Okay. Jimmy, what about you? What do you want to know? What do you want to do ahead of time?
Can you come back to me, please?
Absolutely. Carl, any thoughts on what you want to know going in?
Yes, before we actually get to Geneva, because then maybe we will need to do some surveillance on the building. But I think Carl would like to research AgriWealth offices and kind of learn something more about this Geneva office. Is it like the main office, side office? Is it like and in general, maybe like let's learn a little bit about the company history. Is it something from the, like, I don't know, 200 years history, or is it something that came from nowhere like 50 years ago?
I think that's a really good thing. Does feel like research as your spend here?
Yes.
Okay. So AgriWealth has been around since the mid 1990s. It was incorporated in Great Britain and then shifted to Geneva offices 4 or 5 years later. It has subsidiary offices in lots of places. It's kind of an exploratory company that feels to you, with your sense of tradecraft, like it's very much a cutout. It's very much a shell. I mean, it obviously has employees and it's doing things, but it's also a place to let people go in and make connections and things like that. Geneva is their biggest office. They had an office in the US and some operations there, but that got shut down in 2016. You know that the other thing is apparently they are expanding into some Middle Eastern things, and they're apparently setting up an office in Dubai to do some, you know, desert, you know, greenery, that kind of experimental agricultural thing. If you want to make a tradecraft spend to follow up on this, I think there's something else you can dig on this.
Of course.
You're checking, you know, getting the research, you know, and you can probably get, you know, surveillance photos of the building, all of that kind of thing. But you're also checking like on through your networks and things like that, contacts. And one of your people who's a fixer in the world of sort of clandestine operations, corporate espionage, that kind of thing, says, you know, I had AgriWealth pop up on my radar just about a week ago. It was kind of weird. There is a guy who used to work for AgriWealth, or maybe still does. It's unclear to me. But he clearly has some concerns about the company. And he's been asking through my kind of channels to try and maybe get some people who could help him out with that. I have the sense that he's got some info and and he's nervous about it. But he's in northern Italy. He's not on any of the AgriWealth sites. His name is, and I'll write it here in the chat.
Mhm. And he's a concerned employee looking for mercenaries for hire to help him.
I don't know, but this guy is a senior executive, like research manager in the company. Like he's a senior guy, and he's like, I asked if I could put him in touch with somebody conference-wise, but he wanted to meet people face-to-face, and so on. John bin Zulkifli. I think he might be a Turk originally, but well-placed. He's still listed on the AgriWealth website, so it isn't like he got fired or anything.
Good. Another lead to follow. Yeah, I think my contact. Let's leave them for now unnamed. Maybe we'll get back to this contact. To close this the discussion, financial wise, does this company looks like it is doing extremely well for 25 years old company? Is it like, or is it just like average? Is it like acquiring everything out there and it's like growing like 300% a year, or is it just like average?
It looks like it runs remarkably level. Like it doesn't jump up, doesn't drop down. I mean, it reacts a little bit to the market, but it seems to keep on going steady.
Okay.
Kind of a conservative company. They did take a hit with Brexit. They clearly had a drop off then, but that's the most recent thing.
Sure.
Peter, let's come to you.
I was going to deep dive that a bit further with accounting.
Sure.
On the company.
Absolutely.
That looks slightly suspicious.
So they definitely, you're checking the grants and the work that they're doing and the incomes and outflows that you can read in the books, and it doesn't add up. And there's clearly some essentially financial support coming from some sort of agency or government or significant player that is essentially supporting what they do. You'll get two companies that they work with repeatedly that are a little odd to you. Like they're not the best companies. They're not the companies that you would expect. They're kind of outside the roots. One of them is called Axle Logistics. And the other is HGD Shipping.
Nothing's ever good in logistics. Dodgy outfits.
Those logistics problems, but yeah, it looks like they show up. They use other people, but they go to these people and these carriers more often in a way that strikes you as a kind of a red flag. Does that sound good?
Yep, that sounds very good.
Okay.
Did you want me to spend?
Yeah, please. Just do a spend off of accounting for that, I think.
Could you give us the names of those two companies again?
Sure. Axle Logistics. And HGD Shipping. Axle's relatively younger company. HGD Shipping is can trace itself back further. Jimmy.
With this wealth of information that we now have on all of this stuff, right? Would vampirology, perhaps, do you know, if, for example, if I've been looking at Eurydice and I was finding out they were doing gene research and there was hemophiliac bio researcher in there, that all screams and shouts to me, right? So I'm wondering, it's a bit of a push, but I'm wondering if there's anything that like leaps out as like to the tinfoil hat wearer, you know what I mean? If it's a thing that's not, if it's stretching it too far, then I can take a different approach.
No, I think that's a reasonable thing to do. So yeah, why don't you make a spin from vampirology?
Nice.
And this is I'm going to give you something that's very tinfoil hat. So you're looking at the company. It feels like a shell company, like there's nothing there, but you're running down these names, and you run down HGD with that shipping, and it traces itself back to a company a ways back, through through a family for a number of years. It goes back to essentially the Hapwood family, who owned a vessel named the Zarina Catherine.
And a vessel named the Zarina Catherine?
Yeah, which bizarrely is the name of the vessel that Dracula was on in the novel Dracula.
Oh, I thought it was a Demeter.
That's the well, I'm sorry, yeah, it is the Demeter in there. So, but you've heard this name in connection with that, with your vampirology, like maybe the boat was really named this.
I see. Yes, yeah. An alternative name in whatever, or in the Greek version, it was called the Zarina.
Right.
Whatever.
The Icelandic version.
Yes, of course, the Icelandic version. I forgot about that crazy one.
It's the ship he flees back in.
Ah,
he arrives in
that's right.
Demeter. He leaves in the Zarina.
Thank you. So we'll retcon that to that. Yeah, and it's the timetable syncs up. Very tinfoil hat.
Yeah, I've got like my own annotated copy of Dracula, right? Which is just, it's not the Dracula dossier. It's just scrolls of like things, and I'm like just flicking through the pages, and then like, huh.
I think "huh" is a good reaction to that. Yeah. So, Henry, when you move to go to Geneva, what do you want? What is your legend? What is your cover identity going to be?
Yeah, well, this is Tony. It must be said it's one of Henry's less convincing disguises.
Okay.
You can't dispose of those cheekbones overnight. But because she's traveling by motorcycle with a helmet on, it should make it much simpler.
Okay.
But it's very much one of those helmets that does up under here. So any of the motorway or other cameras will distinctly see somebody with a beard.
Okay. That sounds very good. Now you're going to build essentially the passport, identity, all that stuff. Let's have you make a cover roll.
Question, because last session I did make a spend from forgery to start making for us the IDs. Can we somehow benefit from this, or this is like last session? And
you did do that. I tell you what, I'll let you take advantage on your cover roll. Does that that seems fair?
Yes.
because you're kind of planning for Barcelona, and now you kind of shift gears a little bit to Geneva, but we'll do that.
Okay.
What do you want to spend on cover? You are muted.
I'm going to spend 2.
Okay.
So here we go. Roll 2 and add 2. That is a 6. You see, I told you, it's much less convincing.
All right. Well, as I have done in the past, I am going to take that and put that over there on my hard move shelf right here. Just setting that right there.
Since I've been playing games with Lowell, I have seen that shelf too many times.
Yes. Patrick always goes, "You have it within arm's reach?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, all the time." So it's, it's weak. It'll work. It's weak, and that you don't want to push it with officials with this identity. Does that seem like fair? Jimmy, how are you going to play this?
Well, I am going to go as Xavier Stewart, a former hedge fund trader, and a cover that was built so that I could case up some gold bond deal exchanges and things like that. For a job in the past. Never, clean as far as I know.
That sounds perfect. Let's have you make a cover roll for that.
And it's the
Question, because a possibility to use forgery that doesn't come so often. Can I do a spend to create like a pool of 3 points for my teammates to use for this role?
Yeah. If you want to make that spend.
Yes. So I'm creating a pool of 3 points for us free to use to boost for our role.
Well, then I will steal one of those.
Sure.
Nice.
And spend one of my own. So that would be a +2, correct?
Okay.
If I remember, yeah. Oof, so good that I had those. That's an 8. I rolled a 6 total.
So it's good. It's solid. It's not perfect because this is a little creaky. It's been sitting on the shelf for a little bit longer than you'd like.
Yeah.
And it'll stand up to some scrutiny, but if anybody really takes serious attention on it, you might have an issue.
Can I suggest that perhaps when the one time I have used it, it was with Kasha in the past.
Okay. Yeah. And she may have dirtied that identity up a little bit since then. Okay. And then Carl, you're going to roll this with advantage.
Yes, I'm going to take one of those points, leaving one for Peter.
Okay.
I'm going to add another one from cover. So
you use both those points, Pavel. I'll generate 3 for myself.
Okay.
Thanks, but yeah, I don't want to see you spend again.
Okay. In this case, I will just use both of the points I generated.
Yeah. So tell me about this identity you want to build up. What are you building that you can work from in Geneva?
I didn't really thought about using it in Geneva. I just think with this image of Victor Deslis. He's like, probably like a modern cowboy that makes some maybe like shows or like horse riding stuff, and that's his background. And as for like the way Victor travels, I suppose I'm oh my god, how is it called when you're standing by the roadside and just catching vehicles?
Hitchhiking?
Hitchhiking, yeah. I'm just like basically hitchhiking to Geneva because well, I've heard it's worked. There are some competitions on the speed of hitchhiking, so I'm hitchhiking over there.
Let's have you roll.
Yeah. It's not an identity I can like benefit from greatly in Geneva, but we will see. It's not built for this for this purpose. 4 + 2, I have a full 10.
Yeah, but it is a solid cover. You know, there's no real tracing on you. It fades out into the kind of the, you know, traveling labor, a drifter, part-time work, all of that kind of thing that makes it hard to keep you, you know, on surveillance, and it'll hold up. Doesn't give you a lot of good stuff to work from, but it's definitely clean and solid. And then Peter.
So yeah, I shall catch the ice train from Lyon in France over to Geneva. And I'm going to channel the Catholic Church again. You can never go wrong with the church. Good connections with Switzerland, with the Swiss Guard. But really, I'll have planned out a lot of sort of spotting their CCTV points, you know, and tucking behind, sort of getting well away from sort of like groups of tourists, that sort of thing. Hopefully, they'll chalk up the customs and checkpoints. So yeah, I would like to make a spend from survival,
Okay.
which allows me to locate, identify threats, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So you want to roll that into 3 points for your roll?
Yeah.
Okay, let's have you do that.
8.
8. So again, like Xavier, good, but this is an identity maybe that has gotten a little threadbare, that maybe you've run a little bit before, and might potentially have some issues. Sound good? So we do that wipe, and we see people getting together in various ways. The little montage of you arriving, different times, different routes to get into Geneva. You know, Switzerland, beautiful touristy town, city rather, and essentially we take up with you deciding what your next step is. AgriWealth is a company with a public facing. I mean, there's a lobby. There's you know, standard sort of informational tours, office work, that kind of thing here. It doesn't look, you know, on a first case of the place, it doesn't look heavily armed or armored. It's not a place that has, you know, mercenary security or anything like that here. It looks like your standard corporate, you know, they've got some money there set up for security. So Henry, how do you want to start this?
I mean, I'm much more interested in the man than the place.
Okay.
So I'm kind of alternating between high society or culture to work out where he's going to be, where I could bump into him.
Absolutely. So you can make a high culture spend.
Okay.
And this is probably a little bit of talking with, you know, secretary's office, that kind of thing, requesting, and you will hear from the secretary, who seems to be interested, to say, well, actually, Mr. Bankson just left for Stuttgart. A very short, out of the blue trip, but we're anticipating him back in a couple of days. And if you'd like, I can set up an appointment for you when he returns.
Oh, no. I get this information by bumping into the secretary when she's out getting coffee and befriending her.
then
you know,
then
and our
her
bosses
speech is
just-
more like, this is really irritating. You know, we're you know, running some things. He had some meetings. I had to cancel them. He was running all over the place, you know, getting you know, calling in people and stuff, and then took a red eye to, I mean, he could have driven to Stuttgart. It was very, very unusual.
That's fine. I commiserate, and yeah, you know, my bosses are shit as well. You know, the last time he was supposed to go to Barcelona, then he's going to Geneva. You know, geez, they're just a pain, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. And I think you can probably also get a sense from her real basic info with this, is essentially where Bankson lives, like, you know, high-end apartment building here in Geneva, well-placed luxury apartment. Jimmy, what's your move here? You arrive, you look a little bit cleaner than some of your disreputable comrades here.
You know, I brush myself off, tip heavily. The people, you know, to get an Uber or whatever out to wherever we're going. But John Binzakipli was in Italy. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Feels like an important person for us to hit up at some point. I was just going to, just before we go any further, I'll put it out there that if it's a case of I could go to Italy and speak to him, while the rest of, you know, I'm happy to go to split the party across continents. But for now, perhaps I check in, and I'm going to, I think I'm really interested in that HGD. You know, I haven't been able to stop thinking about it as I've been on this first class trip to Geneva from Paris on the Eurostar.
Yeah, HGD does literally port shipping, whereas
Port shipping.
Axel does overland stuff. So essentially, they have you know, transport vessels out of a number of ports registered under a number of flags.
Would mixing with criminals talking with fences is streetwise, you know, looking at the kind of black market, you know, illegal operations that go around there, people who may have done shady jobs for HGD, any of that kind of activity.
Let's have you make a spend on that.
Sure.
A lot of these companies have some shady dealings, or at least people with the criminal networks can work and get involved in these things. The sense that you get from the people who've like tried to, you know, maybe use HGD for their own purposes, or maybe see about, you know, getting people on board to do some light smuggling and things like that, have been consistently rebuffed.
Even people who maybe wanted to use HGD as like the clean public face of their, you know, as in that they were running a scam, right? But like HGD wouldn't know that. They just tried to book it as a customer.
No, they've definitely got some people vetting for them, and they've got some contacts, and they seem to be, you know, making sure that they're not getting problematic people involved in their shipping in a way that comes off a little odd to you, more than a little odd.
They're looking cleaner than they, you know, for everything in this business, they're cleaner than they should be at every level, kind
Absolutely.
of thing. Yeah. Okay. Does that also give me like locations? Is anyone
I think
broken in or anything like that?
Well, I think you'll have a sense of where their vessels are. You can get the names of the vessels, get like ship IDs and things like that, such that if you want to at some point say, I want to find the closest one of these in port.
Perfect. Thank
Okay. Then let's swing around. You've arrived in Geneva, Carl. You've got yourself settled in here. You've got some information. What do you want to do next?
That's a difficult one because the target isn't here. And so basically, do you want to wait for Brad to return, or do you want to like attempt breaking at the company when he isn't here, or do you want to like break in and snoop around one of their ships? Any ideas which direction we want to go? Because I don't want to waste points going.
Let's rob his house, Carl. Let's
Well,
rob
what?
his house. He's not there. Let's have a snoop around his house.
Yeah. Sounds. Yeah, but if we do it, then upon his return, he will know something is bad, something is wrong.
Well, when I said rob, I didn't actually mean let's clear him out. You know, leave him 2 biscuits. Let's snoop around his house.
Yeah. So yeah.
I'll come with you if you need some other stuff.
Yeah. So since Henry learned where he lives, I probably wanna like go there, take a look around the building, and find a potential infiltration route.
Okay. Bit of internet repairmen, yeah.
Yeah, this thing never goes old.
So doing
go
that would be an infiltration roll. If you want to make a spend from, say, surveillance to give yourself a pool for kind of casing the joint and checking the place out, you can do that.
I'll do that spend, Carl.
Okay.
Okay. So you got 3, points towards the infiltration and for ops inside. So why don't you make that infiltration roll?
Okay. Yeah. So probably like internet repair guy, the crew of 2, or are you staying in the van?
No, I don't think we're gonna need van support, so I'll come with you.
Yeah. So 2 guys fixing the internet. Yeah, I'm going to draw one of those points and spend 1 from my pool.
Okay.
So I will roll +2. It's a 7.
That is a 7. So that is going to work, but it takes a little bit like there's that moment when you kind of have to, the doorman kind of argues with you, that kind of thing where it gets slowed down, the kind of thing that is going to stay in the back of people's minds. And, if somebody asks questions later, you've left a trail of crumbs. Like if people know, they might check and start to figure out. But you can make your way up to this very nice luxury apartment, and essentially pop the lock, disable the security pretty quickly, and get inside. It's very spacious. It's got a big balcony windows, beautiful room there to sit in, dining space, kitchen. It's got a built-in wine rack, that kind of full walk-in shower, beautiful thread count on the sheets. Everything here says like very nice, someone who takes pride in their appearance and takes pride in looking the part. Peter?
Well, now we're in there. Let's take apart his router and install some software there, so it's going to go straight through our van.
Okay.
We can see when he comes back what he's looking at. Does he have a desktop at all, or is
I
he a
think-
laptop only
I
man?
think this is a corporate guy. He only has a laptop, and
He's taking it with him. Fair one.
he doesn't. The laptop that you see here is very clearly a work laptop, like it has the code, the inventory code for AgriWealth and stuff.
Okay. Well, I think the old spectacles with the lights on the side and the magnifying eyepieces goes on, and let's have a bit of digital intrusion. See if we can find out what's on this laptop.
Sure. Why don't you make a roll for me?
So I'm going to spend. Is that pool still useful here?
Yeah, you've spent it. You've checked the place out. This means to me that you've done some preliminary work on, well, what the internet's like here, how you can use that kind of thing.
Okay, I'm going to use the last two from that pool.
Okay.
A 10. Get in there.
A 10. So you will absolutely be able to pop the security on this. It's basic corporate security. He's probably got I can't remember what they called it, a dongle with the code numbers. You can easily spoof that and get in there. Basic stuff. The thing that will strike you is you're used to how corporate people use their laptops, use them badly, have a lot of junk on here and stuff. Very much the sense that this is his work laptop and he must have another device on him. What's on here is very much work related materials, though there are, in that search history, he has been watching Paris and Barcelona over the last week. It shows up in his cache. He's clearly been keeping an eye on that situation. You'll also see searches on Stuttgart, clearly location searches, like places downtown, that kind of thing that says to you somebody who's not being particularly careful about doing searches on here for a place that's maybe a meet or something like that.
Okay, well, we'll throw all that on a USB key just in case we need to look a bit later at that. But I think that's some good information to pass to whoever fancies going to Stuttgart. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I'll pass that to Carl and to the wider audience. We can file that out to Henry and to Jimmy. I'm happy with that. Carl, do you want to do anything else here, my friend?
I thought I would look for what's hidden in the apartment. Maybe he has like a hidden compartment with like documents, because probably anything lying easily available is like there will be nothing
like mini safe or something, hidden.
Yeah. Why don't you make a notice roll for me?
You mean observation roll or notice spent?
Oh, sorry, just a notice spent. I'm sorry. That was rolls.
Done.
You will find there is a basic safe here, but you pop it open. It has work stuff. It feels like that's a fake out. You look around a little harder, and you will find a pretty sophisticated floor compartment. Built in. They've got wood floors here, so you got to kind of prise a board away, and you'll find a box that you end up having to pop. You pull it out. There are several different passports. There's money in a variety of denominations here. There's a gun, and it looks like you know, a set of 4 or 5 different legends and identities for this guy. And you
Who's a
can,
naughty boy.
yeah, you can easily take a quick scan of all of those, you know, scan the passports, get that information in your system. But yeah, he's definitely, you know, hanky. Do you want to make a forgery spend?
Forgery spend.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm really racking on this investigation skills. Yes, of course I will.
You're looking at the passports, you're looking at the materials here, and this looks like a British intelligence job. Like this is MI6, maybe MI5, but probably MI6. Like you recognize just a little things about the way they handle the forgery, the ways they get around particular things, and you know enough about that to be able to say, yeah, this guy's British intelligence.
Yeah, I think we can definitely leave a bug in the flat. Maybe it will give us something about before he finds it, probably. But yeah, we can definitely leave a bug somewhere in the like main room.
Yeah, let's put a couple of bugs in his electrical sockets.
Yeah.
You know, good place.
I want a digital intrusion or a mechanics roll to plant that bug.
Looks like digital intrusion. I will roll at +1.
Okay.
Mighty 12.
12. You've got this good. This is not the kind of bug he's going to pick up doing personal sweeps. It's the kind of bug that it's going to take cleaners. You know, if they practice proper discipline and they have somebody come through monthly or quarterly, they're going to pick it up at that time, but he's not going to be able to detect it. Nice. Sound good?
Sounds good. Back to the van.
Yeah. Let's take our break here. Let's go to a quarter after, and then we'll continue on. So we're going to come back and let's Henry. We'll assume that there's been like either a conference call or you know a meeting place that you all have you know swapped information about where things are. It's Geneva. It's early part of the year, so it's cold. Probably a little dusting of snow on everything here.
Until he's back, I don't think I have any plans. Which does make me wonder whether we could fit a trip to Italy in those 4 days.
Or do a few people want to go to Italy and you intercept him in Stuttgart?
The idea of chasing him to Stuttgart, he could be on the plane back already. I think that's just trickier.
It's not very far away.
Here, we'll have the bugs in his apartment. I can bump into his secretary again. We've got some prep done here.
True, but I mean, he may be a hermit and just live in his flat in Stuttgart. He was researching places to go, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
and we know where they are.
Yeah,
it's not his home turf. That's my only sort of suggestion why Stuttgart's good.
I mean,
because he doesn't know it.
He's a social being from our initial kind of look at him using high society. So you know, and he's clearly an operator. So you don't operate in your flat. So no, I really don't want to pursue him to Stuttgart.
Peter, do you want to pursue him to Stuttgart?
Well, I'll listen to Jimmy and Carl. I am prepared to go to Stuttgart. Yeah.
I definitely, you know, the main angle that I as a player want to pursue is find out John Binns' Kipling what he wants, but as a character, I think that there could be something gained from staking him. You know, not intercepting him in Stuttgart, but feeling him out, seeing what business he's taking care of, what's called him away unexpectedly in Stuttgart, that kind of thing, so that when he does come back, we've got more. And who knows, Peter? If we see our chance, maybe we take it.
Back on the head, you know, back of the van.
Yeah, if you wanna
Carl.
go to Stuttgart, I will go with you, and then we can like divide 2 and 2 as I see the influence in. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to go to either, basically. You know, I mean, my main thing with Italy is that I want someone to go there rather than necessarily me to go there.
yeah,
So
though I think that meeting with John could happen before we somehow engage him in Stuttgart, just so we have this
Well, we
information.
can, yeah, we can. I think we'll split if we're going to split, and we can kind of move back and forth between scenes there. I just need to know. I know Peter's going to Stuttgart. Are you going with him, or is Jimmy going with him? Carl.
I don't know, Jimmy. What do you prefer?
I honestly, if I were as a GM, I would say I think Jimmy needs to go with him because we already had those pairings the other way. And I think we should mix them up just for dramatic sake.
Yes, definitely, and it's actually my contact that will set me up with to meet with John, so it makes sense. I will go to Italy.
So we see that decision being made, and we do that born identity wipe till we see a car driving, you know, through the Italian countryside, heading out. You know, we get the music swell.
And you know, it's like an American muscle car we have borrowed.
Absolutely. So you will head to meet with him. It's actually in Lombardy. He has a house outside of a place called Brescia, and you're driving. He sounded nervous on the phone, and eventually you'll arrive. Again, we're in the foothills of the Alps. So got the mountainside road and then up and down, and you arrive at a very nice house, built, onto the side. So, it's got, multiple balconies and brilliant windows on it, and clearly a lot of money here. And you will drive up and arrive. And let me find a picture I have for him.
Just to establish, I think our contact said that he wants to hire some mercenaries. So we are just like my contact mercenaries.
Yeah, like he clearly mercenaries or investigators, operatives of some kind.
Yeah, operatives. Yeah, that's much nicer words. He wants to hire operatives. So we are just like just interested operatives. Perfect.
Let me find my picture.
I was going to go as journalist blogger, but I think I'll go with agent instead then.
That makes sense. Where is it? NBA.
You seem a little nervous, Henry, about the news that that Brett might be from the MI6.
I'm just beginning to get worried about the fact that Sinclair was a Brit and was wearing a black hat. Now we have Bankson, who's involved with this, and he's British intelligence of some stripe, or at least was. It's just, I know they hung me out to dry, but the fact is that I still kind of feel it's my country, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, seems like MI6 is really infiltrated by them. Well,
I'm all, you know, and I can't help thinking about, you know, those kind of canteen talks that used to have about, you know, back in the day. And there were these, you know, there were these rumors about, you know, sketchy kind of super science stuff back before the Second World War. You know, I'm just worried.
So you've probably done a little bit of research. You've seen, you know, gotten some pictures online, stuff about Zukipli. He expert in biochemistry. He's worked with biohazard handling. He was in Iraq, looking for WMD after the war, chemical traces, that kind of thing. Moved on to agri-wealth, in particular hazardous material disposal or cleaning sites of hazardous material for agriculture, and kind of moved up research chemist. Most of the pictures of him are like on a boat or him lifting weights or that kind of thing. He's clearly a guy who keeps fit. That's not the guy who comes to the door. It's the same man, but you can see that the muscle's gone from his body. And he's dressed in clothing that fits loosely. His hair is out. It's clearly fallen out. And he's got a cane that it clearly bothers him to use it. That kind of look where he keeps it back away because he doesn't want to see people walking with it. And he's like, come inside. Thank you for coming to see me. You come highly recommended.
Oh, that's
well,
that's Mr. Zulkifli.
Just John. John's fine.
So, John, what exactly are you needing?
He gestures for you to come into the big seating room with the so you can look out onto the mountains and you can see, got a big fireplace, couch, that kind of thing. And he gestures for you, two of you to sit, and he says, for a number of years, I've worked for a company called AgriWealth. I've been working with patents and with the chemical side of things, operating stuff. They pay me very, very well. But I've always they're not adventurous. I have overseen operations, but things never go places. Like never develop beyond basic stages, or we're in on projects that were already in place. But it paid well, and it gave me a lot of time off. But the last year or so, I've gotten the sense that there's something hanky going on with it. I don't know finances. I'm not an accountant or anything like that, but stuff is seen weird. Money getting shifted around between divisions, incoming stuff that that I didn't know about, and now they've pulled a bunch of their resources to set up in the Middle East, and I don't know what that's for. Like, it's not on what I would consider the game plan for it. It seems to me like there are some people in the company who are doing something wrong, and I want somebody to dig into it and find out what is happening there.
And do you have any names of the people involved in this, John?
Are you serious about following up on this? I have some money. I can pay you on that to track this down.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, John. We would bill you for this work, but we're professionals, and we need to know that there's a job to be done here. What I don't want to do is to take your money when there's not a job to be done. So I suppose what I'm trying to do, John, is just to work out exactly, what's the scope of this. I don't want to say, yeah, we'll take, 10K from you, and we'll report back in a couple of weeks saying we looked we had a look and it's clean. I guess what I'm trying to tease out of you here, John, is this a serious inquiry, and do you have some leads that would be actionable? Because otherwise, I won't take your money.
I have a hard drive that I took out of a set of offices that I wasn't supposed to be in. After some meetings with some people I'd seen get kind of flit around that said to me that they were at the top of these things.
Okay, John. I think you've told me enough at that point for us really to need to check that this is secure here. Have you had anyone sweep this place for bugs in the recent past?
I've swept for bugs, but at this point it's kind of, do you know what organophosphate is?
I don't, but I'm guessing that
either of you have chemistry?
Yeah, yes. Victor is I usually talk to Victor about the science, if I'm honest, John.
Okay. It's a poison. I started showing symptoms about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I don't. This is not too long after I took the drive. I have seen a guy around. A guy I'd seen around AgriWealth who has popped up on the radar, a couple of times, and I know I've seen him, before I got poisoned. There was a party. It was sort of a pop-up, and I'm pretty sure that's when they got me.
And I think we would need to know the name or some description of this person, John, because clearly, are you telling me that you're in a hurry?
I don't know how much longer I have. This guy, Eastern European accent, tall, pale. I've seen him a couple of times.
Okay. Well, okay then, John. I think that
that's when you'll hear the, and that's the hard move. And I think
well played.
That's when you see the from the forehead of the blossom, and his body begins to fall over the side. We'll come back to you two in just 1 minute.
That's very good.
Jimmy, Peter, I assume you're on the ground in Stuttgart, carefully, probably checking out these places that that had like photos of and that kind of thing. Does that seem like a reasonable assessment?
Yeah, sure. I think my first priority would be getting eyes on Bagson, you know, and keeping an eye on his movements, perhaps, while Peter does the digging on the places, or vice versa, you know?
I'm more interested in what is our aim.
Find out who he's talking to. What's he doing here?
Okay.
What? Because
So
this is a
we want to
recent meeting.
surveillance him.
Yeah, and he's set up the squad, the group of people that came after us or brought us in, right? So they've been wiped off the board very recently. So like, is this to do with is this a ripple from that, you know?
Why don't one of you make a surveillance spend, and I'll give you some preliminaries,
I'll make a surveillance spend.
and then you can follow up from that. You kind of hit the ground, you start putting the feelers out, and like he's clearly moved to cover as soon as he's hit the ground here, in that way that says that he is running an op.
Not his usual glad handing and
Yeah.
kind of thing. He's
Exactly. And the thing that you will see when you're kind of moving around, checking things out, when you get it down to like a couple block radius, there are multiple teams of watchers on the ground. He's clearly lamplighting, running a surveillance team, and it looks like that he's got maybe a couple of dozen operatives on the ground, moving, getting set up, chasing. Like they are clearly, to your trained eye, getting ready to, you know, observe a meet or do something else at a meeting or something like that. They are moving in that way. They're smart, they're professional. You can see that it's, you know, you guess at least some of them are locals and know the local lay of the land, that kind of thing. Peter, how do you want to approach this?
Let's look for some high vantage points. The sniper rifle could be getting there.
Okay.
Speaking with Jimmy, so he's got this plan, this op. Do you want to disrupt it, or just see it through?
see it through, but depends if we can work out what their target is. Maybe it's something that's more useful in our hands than in theirs. But at the moment, we'd just be putting ourselves in their crosshairs, you know? I'm wondering if I can create a talent. What are you doing here? Network. And have recognize one of the people on the op who the move is spend to make a network test to create a contact when you wouldn't normally be able to make such a test. For example, you're in prison in a vampire's dungeon, you could, you know, a fellow prisoner,
I
return
think that's
failure, etc.
absolutely perfect. Yeah, I'll let you make that network test.
Yeah.
Mark the talent, roll the test. And then we're going to come back to Peter, get what Peter is doing after we kind of see what level of success you're going to have here.
Cool. Damn, I should have. I can't set myself up with a push, can I? Somebody else would do that for me.
No, you can. You can spend off of if you have a tactical. It's called tactical benefits. Do you think you have one of your tactical skills, like you can make a point of spend from tradecraft to represent your experience, that kind of thing?
Yeah, and I expect that's also how I'm like, when I do bump into this person, it's going to be very low key, you know. And that pool, I guess, could be involving anything with that said person.
So so you make a spend from tradecraft. That push, you get 3 free floating points. You can spend them on the network roll, all of them, or you can save some, however you want to do it.
I will spend 2 of them and spend 1 off network as well.
Okay.
So that'll be a +3.
3, there's almost no chance you could fail now.
Yeah, but oh my God. 7.
Ooh, 7. So I think you will see someone that you know, but you know that they know that you're not your persona non grata. We'll come back and take up how you want to handle that in a moment. Peter, what do you want to be doing during this moment?
So definitely high rise, good vantage point, setting up the sniper's rifle, comms in, to Jimmy, just waiting for him to identify a target.
I think I want an infiltration roll. They've got a lot of watchers here.
Fair one. So spending 2. 9.
9. I think you will get yourself up into a good position. It's clearly been chosen as a location that has good vantage points. You don't know where they are yet, but you're almost certain that there's another sniper up here. Maybe not on your building necessarily, but it's just like a glint of light, the way the watcher's moving, that kind of thing that says that there's somebody in a window or something waiting to possibly take a shot here.
I'll tell Jimmy, the fact that, there could be a rifle trained on him. Just watch himself.
Jimmy, let me get the name of this contact before I swap over to your comrades.
Let's call him Heinrich.
Heinrich. And that is the thing is Heinrich's, doing the pass. He's in a team. He's sat down. He's got his little cup of espresso, however you say it. I'm American. Anyway, he's got his little thing of coffee, and he's just drinking it when he looks up and he meets eyes with you, and he's like, his eyes get wide, like, what the hell?
Yeah, and I just bumble past as though I don't know him, right? But like let a piece of paper slip to the ground with a kind of like down the alleyway or whatever, right? Like or in the bathroom of this cafe, perhaps,
Okay. He'll pick that up. We'll come back to that in a moment here. Pavel, pop. And this guy's body slumps. You can see the crack in the big plate glass window. You can see the mountain out there. What do you do?
Yeah, I really wanted to do it last time in Paris. I just go on the comms. Flavio, do you have eyes on the shooter? Report. We clearly have some backup sniper of our own.
Okay, so that feels like a preparedness or network.
I think it's preparedness. They have some,
yeah, that seems perfect. Yeah.
Let's spend 2 on this.
Yeah, why not? You're losing money not spending it.
It's an 8.
That's an 8. So you'll hear, he's moving. I don't have eyes on him right now, but he's definitely moving into position. Like, get down. I don't think he's done here.
Okay.
I'm going to try and move to a little bit higher ground right now.
Okay, I will try to draw his fire, and then you can take him out. And I look at Henry, and I just very quietly, like not to the microphone, says, probably in his office, I will draw the fire. Please find a disc.
What do you want to do, Henry?
Thumbs up and crawl out of the room to the hall and try to work out where the office is while staying low and staying hopefully out of line of sight from any window facing in that direction.
I think the finding it is not a problem. I want you to make an evasion roll.
Let's see. Yeah, I will spend 2 from evasion because rolls have been going so well. Oh, that's a 10.
That is a 10. So there is that moment when you kind of have to pop up a little bit. You know that Carl's moved out and is shifting around, and you kind of pop, because you just need to check this, and that's when that next shot rings out and the lamp shatters next to you, and you drop down and see the thing taped underneath the desk. And you can rip that drive off into your pocket. This guy's pretty good. Pavel, Carl, how are you playing this?
My contact is Flavio. Yeah, I suppose that Carl wants to stay in this like big open meeting room we were in. My main goal is to try to pose as if I'm trying to avoid him and search something, like search the cupboards, or like search it. I want it to look like I'm searching for something. I
Okay.
actually want to like set him up so that Flavio can like locate him and take him out.
Okay. I think that's a complicated role. But I think it feels like a good indirect role. So we'll say combat against an equal foe, because you are putting yourself, getting a little bit more of an advantage than you would otherwise. You've
Yes.
got Flavio backing it up. So kind of, I think it evens out there. And let's have you go ahead and roll shoot.
Perfect. Yeah. I'm going to spend 2 on this. For a moment there, I was wondering that Henry will find another shooter in the house. So my roll is again an 8.
Okay. 8. So deal harm to your foe and choose one. Deal more harm, suffer no harm, take or give advantage forward, shift the edge, reposition the conflict.
I think it makes sense that I managed to draw him and for Flavio to get like a perfect shot, so I will choose to deal more harm.
Okay. So there is that movement, and you pop and move, and you feel the impact of the bullet. I'm going to assume you have a vest on, so you're only going to take 2 harm.
Yep.
And this bullet hits this guy pretty center mass, and he still keeps moving. And you hear Fabio go, "What the fuck?" And he's on the comms. He's like, I hit him center, and he's still moving.
Maybe he's got the vest. I don't know. Try it again.
So let's have you take the hit roll, Carl.
Yes.
So this will be at a +1.
I think +2 because total was because I suffered like 2 harm.
You suffer 2 harm, and the harm you roll is whatever harm -1.
Yes. A 4.
A 4. So you walk it off. You walk it off. You wanted low. So you are moving along. Henry's giving you the word that they have the drive. This guy is taking a serious hit, but is still moving. We'll come back to you two in just one moment. Jimmy, what do you, this guy follows in that way that says, I don't fucking trust you. And he moves, you hear like he's tapping, like he's clearly saying, hang on. Like he's off position, and he's telling people to chill. And he walks in, doesn't go into back alone with you, but goes so you have a little bit of private voice on him. He's like, what are you doing here?
Listen, mate, Heinrich, I know you wouldn't want to be involved in any of the shit that I'm going on in that's going down, right? But the people you're working for are bad people. Very bad people. And I know that sounds rich for all of this stuff, right? But wondering if we might come to the same sort of agreement we did in, back in Budapest. You know, you like to keep your hands clean. What? You just tell me what you're after, and maybe we just watch. But maybe, you know, I help you. I help you. I help stop you from making a horrible mistake.
This feels like flirting.
Negotiation?
Or negotiation, either one.
Yeah, I'll go with negotiation.
Okay.
Because I'm
You want
presenting
to
it in
do a
terms of
1 or a 2-point spend?
oof. I mean, it'd be very, very useful to have a guy on the inside in the whole of this, wouldn't it? Really.
Yeah.
So I think I'll do a 2-point spend because I can't think of anything.
What is it? How is it that you saved Heinrich's life? Like, why does he owe you?
I don't even think that it's that I saved Heinrich's life. Is that I stopped Heinrich from murdering somebody that he thought was part of the game, part of the life, part of the thing, right? But he was just being used as a proxy, right? For like, and I stopped him from, you know, I stopped him. Like to him, it looked like I double crossed him, but then when he found out afterwards that he was just being used as a patsy for somebody else, in fact, I stopped him from being used to plant a bomb. You know, just plant this package somewhere. You don't need to worry about it. Yeah, no questions asked, mate. And then a bomb, and then I can tie it back into PRX and stuff if needed to really push him.
He hits his thing, clearly shutting the comms off. He says, "Look, I'm working for the service.
Yeah,
We're here on a job. There's an agent who took some information from control, and they're here meeting to sell it on to someone. And we've got a person posing as their buyer, and we're going to wrap them up. That's what we're doing."
who's the person? Who's the buyer and who's the mark? You share that with me?
There's a guy named Baxon out of Geneva who's here, who's a lamplighter, and he's actually going in on this. They had to scramble this fast. It's a woman. I don't know her name. Some sort of operative from the Eastern European desk grabbed up a bunch of stuff, and apparently has it and is going to sell it on.
Okay.
Don't tell me you're here. You're not. I mean, she's not coming to sell it to you. Tell me it's not that.
Well, I wasn't interested in buying until now, Heinrich. Come on, it'll all go smoothly, you know, just like Minsk.
We've got snipers in position. We've got orders that if she bolts, we're to put a bullet in her, even here in Germany.
But the plan is to let her walk away.
No, he stops.
Yeah.
The plan is to grab her up.
Right. And how are you planning on grabbing her up?
We've got people
in the middle of Germany.
We've got people on the ground. We've got a couple of vans in the area. You know.
So you're going to make the sale and then grab her, or are you going to grab her before the sale?
I'm just a watcher, and I need to get back onto my post.
Yeah. I'm just thinking. Listen, somebody in the service, they planted a bomb in Paris, mate. It's not on, is it?
That PRX thing?
Yeah. People died, you know.
I
Could have
heard it
been more
was
people.
somebody from the service, some sort of cuckoo that went off.
Yeah. And the people who are pulling your strings pulled his trigger. You know, I wouldn't do you like that, Heinrich.
What do you want?
I think I need to have a word with this lass before Bagson does. And my overall plan is that we snatch her up. We blend in with their group and we snatch her up and go, you know?
He says, you've got a very short timetable right now.
I got a very good teammate.
And
I say,
he reaches into his jacket and he pulls up and he shows you a photo. You've got 20 minutes before she's supposed to be here.
right.
Get moving.
Okay. Yeah. Frantic phone call to Peter in the bathroom. Yeah. We'll have to think about how we do that, I guess.
Is that okay, Peter? Is it okay if I cut?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. We'll start with you when we come back. Henry, you've got the drive. You're hearing this on the comms. You hear Flavio cursing, and moving along. Then, what do you want to do?
Is the car presumably at the front of the house?
Yeah.
And we were sat in a large open plan sitting room with a huge plate glass window, weren't we?
Yeah.
So
a couple of them, sliding glass, all wonderful.
So the shooter would have a line of sight to the car.
Yeah. Unless he's had to move out of position right now, but he's probably still got a pretty good vantage. He's been shot, so he knows people have eyes on him, and he has put a bullet in Carl.
But my evasion was so good, he doesn't know where I am. I
think he doesn't know exactly where you are. I think if you want to try and get to the car, I would let you roll evasion with advantage because of the work that Carl's doing.
Yes. Oh, just one though. Need to keep something in the physical box. Roll with advantage. That is 6 in total.
Even with
the advantage. A 3, a 1, and a 2 plus 1. So I make it, I get out the door, or maybe I go out the back door around the side of the building, but I am maybe pinned down. I don't know. You tell me.
I think you're trying to evade a gunshot, and I think you do not. I think I'm going to say, being generous here, that it's a winging shot that catches you. Essentially, a through shot goes through on the thigh, doesn't hit anything, but you feel it go through.
Tell you what, because we've not used the rule yet, and I'm curious to.
Okay.
I'm going to mark shaken.
Yeah. Then I think what happens is you've gotten to the car, and that's when the windshield blows out. Like you hear the bullet whiz past you, and you are covered with the glass there as you drop down. Carl, is a crack of another shot as Henry makes her move. So you can see the muzzle flash. This guy is moving and shooting.
Yeah, I don't suppose our late host had any guns on display. Probably not a very Italian style to have a guns on display.
But we are outside. Maybe like either a shotgun or a small hunting rifle. I can say that. That seems a reasonable thing. If you want to say that.
Probably shotgun will not allow me to engage a sniper.
True.
Yeah, I probably like. Since this guy took this powerful shot, I suppose I'm just like running through the front door and to get to the car so that we will drive away. It seems like the most the best approach.
Okay, let's have you make an evasion roll. Again, you've got Flavio giving you covering fire, so I'm going to give you advantage.
Yeah. Evasion, advantage. I shot once. I'm going to wager 2 on this. So down to
Okay.
6. Still a mixed result.
Still a mixed result.
7 plus 2, 9, yes.
I think that you will get there, hop behind the wheel of this, grab Henry in, and you hear, how did he get over? And then Flavio's comms goes dead.
Yeah.
You want to peel out of there, try and drive, make a drive roll to try and evade to get away.
Yeah, put the pedal to the metal, as they say, you know.
Let's have you roll that. This is you trying to kick up dust and dirt to obscure your sight, trying to catch what trees and cover you can, 0 to 60 or whatever that would be in kilometers.
Another roll. I feel like we made enough evasion rolls. Do you want to like put a roll again?
This is drive. So
yeah, but okay.
What do you have that would be a good tactical benefit for this?
Nothing really.
No, you do. You've got survival, which is your outdoor skill. That's the one you've used before to use the terrain to your advantage.
Yeah, but I'd rather keep one in technical.
Okay.
Yeah, I will drop 2 from driving.
Yeah, and if Henry wants to pitch in from a pool, can do that.
I was just thinking, can I spend 1 from notice to be saying to Carl, go left, go left, go left, go left, right.
I think that's perfect. So that'll be a 3-point pool you can generate there.
Okay, so Carl, if I was you, I'd take all 3.
Okay, if you want to play it that way, I will take all 3. Pressing buttons. A 14.
What is the stunt that you do? What do we see on screen to that is just trained professional defensive driver? How do you do this? I mean, this guy is firing 1, 2, 3 shots as you're peeling away. What do we see?
So this guy has like this huge. I envision that he has like a huge garden. So there is like some distance on like a gravel road to the gate. So I do like a 360 on like a handbrake to generate all the gravel in the air, all the sand in the air, and then I drive. And then before the gate, I just I do almost the same so that to clock his vision. And then it's once I'm on the road, I'm just like, a police would call it as I'm driving like a drunk guy, but I'm actually making it like calculated, going to the left lane and then going back to the right lane, because I don't think there was like a lot of traffic.
Yeah,
so I'm just
serpentine on these mountain roads, using that to get it. There are a few more shots. I imagine we, just because we have it in the budget, that the back window goes out as you and you peel away. Peter, Jimmy's given you the brief on the situation here.
Yeah, he wants to pick this person up, which would tend to indicate that a sniper's probably not the best person to assist him. So I think we'll see Peter packing up his sniper gear, unless Jimmy wants me to take out this other sniper. Give me a quick elevator pitch on how you're going to do this, Jimmy.
Well, my thinking is that essentially we do what they're planning to do with a van and whatever, right? We sweep in, we snatch her up off the streets and book it, or we try and get we try and work out. We just get to her before them, basically. You could be on Overwatch to make sure that we can get away, like provide covering fire.
Okay, because oddly enough, I actually know the head of the guy that's organising and directing Stuttgart Pride, which is on today, Wolfgang Tillmans, I could redirect the Pride March straight through where we need him to cut them off, because I know him, because it's in the nick of time.
You want to do that?
I think so, yeah.
Then I think we see you've prepared for this. You were already planning on directing them through to create chaos. I think we see the people, the watcher people on the ground. They're working their teams, and then suddenly they start to get this march through. And I think we get a cutaway where we see Bankson on what was and there's screens up, and he's yelling at people to get me eyes on this, get me eyes on this, and people are starting to pour through here. How are you doing this, Jimmy?
Well, I think that this area is now filled with the Pride people, right? And when we see the target, right, my plan is to basically slip up beside her, tell her that she's blown, and like we swap hats, or like a coat with one of the people next to us, and then just slide off away.
So this feels like a very risky evasion roll to pull this off. I think that you're not going to get advantage. You're just getting the opportunity from the work that Peter has done. Peter, where are you going to be then? The people are coming into this. Jimmy's going to move up and do this. Where are you at?
I think so. Hightail it down from this vantage point I had, and I think to the van and spinning that round, to pick him up.
All right. Let's see that evasion roll.
I'm going to use my short-term follow-up that I made with my contact previously with Heinrich, because I think that's saying that perhaps one of that advantage is in if Heinrich's one of the people who sees me, right, he won't call it in, or he'll say I see them somewhere else or whatever, right? And then I will spend this is an evasion roll, isn't it? I'll spend 2 off that, so I'll have +3 again.
Okay.
That's as much as I can spend, isn't it? A +3 is the most I can.
It is.
It is, yeah. Because I'm like, do I go even further? And then I can't. So you made an easy choice. That's 12. Oof.
That's 12.
Win a chicken dinner.
Tell me what that looks like. What do we see on screen? Of course, we've got all that, the music going on and the multiple cuts. Paul Greenglass is directing this, so we've got all kinds of shaky cam stuff going on, and
it's
we're getting a little nauseous.
The Waterloo scene in
yes,
thingy, and we're going through, and but she doesn't panic. She looks very surprised, but then she's in this life, and she, just follows me, and then I quickly pass over, slip her coat off and hand it to one of the drag queens next to it, and put over a thing, and we walk away from it. But Heinrich sees me pass that coat off to someone, and then shouts it out to the team on the other side, luring them away to the people who have now dressed like us.
We'll see this roll through, and then the van, Peter at the driver's side door open in, and
oh yeah, and I think Peter's even how traffic sometimes coasts through the straggly bits of this.
Yep.
It's it's coasting through, and without even stopping, we just sort of walk into the van and drive away, and no one, unless you'd blink and you'd miss it.
And you are gone into the afternoon with the asset in hand. Let's go to 1/4 again, and then we'll continue.
As I get in the car, I'm like, oh, God, Henry and Carl are going to have it easy. I had it easy in Italy. We've had to do all this bloody stuff.
Perfect.
Yeah, well, yes, clearly he's got an active connection. Whether or not anyone in MI6 knows is a different.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So clearly, Brett running. Brett has a handler above him. That's something that you got before. Seems like he's MI6, maybe active MI6 right now. Not unlike Sinclair and Ozyurt were. You don't know if this is different what the situation is. He clearly was able to call in MI6 assets, or maybe this was a job he was doing for MI6. It's unclear. But the bottom line is you've got a woman there. Her name is Cassandra Irving. I put a picture of her in the NPCs tab. And through the magic of movie editing, I think we come to, a like a roadside travel station / gas station, with a diner, somewhere between, the Alps there, for that drive from Stuttgart, and we've met somewhere in the middle there. Though by this point, Henry and Carl have ditched the cars and swapped over. So I think we see the 5 of you there. And she's kind of sitting, you can tell that she's just coming down off of her, like, adrenaline. It's because she's been terrified in the car that you two are going to murder her, despite reassurances and so on. And she seems like an agent, but not a field agent. So what are you all saying? What are you doing?
Well, I think we'll bring Carl and Henry up on the situation, and I think really interacting with her is more in sort of Henry's department than either me or Jimmy's. That's for sure.
Yeah, Jimmy would have been doing his, like reassuring her as Peter drove, right? Like the
Jelly bean?
Yeah. Cigarette. Yeah. But here is, I guess, the first point for like a real debrief. We all bring each other up to speed. The hard drive feels like a later thing, right? But that guy took a bullet, so we need to come up with something stronger than bullets, clearly.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about making a notice spend to spot any additional weirdness, but I'm not sure if taking a bullet is enough weirdness. Is there much I could pick up with a notice spend?
What I think if you want to spend notice, I'll let you do that, and I'll give you some other info.
I have visions in my mind of as we speed away in the car, he's chasing us. But
that he moves fast, but not inhumanly fast. Not like the bat thing that descended from the air and so on. But something like that guy's on something. Just the quick look through the telescope or whatever says to you, it's the weird dilation of the eyes, it's the pale skin, it's also the sort of definitely covering the head and face there that suggests to you maybe some light sensitivity, but it's not like a thrall like you've seen before. It's something else. And I think also this is a trained hitter.
So a potentially and somehow supernaturally enhanced hitter.
Yes.
Okay.
Cassandra, say, who the fuck are you?
Well, we're the people who saved you from...
Day.
Yeah, exactly. We're the people who saved you from a black bag and a trip to Guantanamo Bay, love. Or Grimsby. don't want to go either of those places, I can tell you.
Gonna say Grimsby's
Definitely
worse.
not.
Yeah, at least the sun, right? Yeah. Anyways, now the guy, your buyer, was about to snatch you up. What was he so interested in? And is it
Buyer?
worth your life? Yeah.
I wasn't selling anything. I was supposed to meet with somebody who would get me some passports and a way out. I was trying to get myself out of Europe, trying to get myself out from who was chasing me. Wasn't selling anything.
Well, I think that person that was going to give you the passports worked for the people that wanted you gone.
You in the service, love?
Yeah, and I know who you are.
Well, reputation precedes me then. I glance at Henry. I wonder if she notices.
The burn list precedes you, I think, is...
Well, yeah. And yourself as well at this point, I think. Who did you piss off and how?
I've been doing Eastern European intelligence analysis for the last couple of years. I was originally just doing basic accounts, SIGINT tracking, traffic analysis in Great Britain. But I had a boyfriend who's Romanian, and that was a whole thing. And I picked up some of the language, and then they lost some people off of that desk, and I got put into position a few years ago. A few weeks ago, shit went up in Bucharest. And that set off a set of weird signals. Like, I'm used to digging into stuff. So maybe I was looking in some places I wasn't technically cleared to go. But there was all kinds of traffic, like some sort of op had gone south in Bucharest. I saw money getting shifted around, people, all kinds of stuff. And there was some weirdness there. Like, I started to dig back, and it seemed like there were links to some other operations that I couldn't find any real record for. And then I dug and I got a package.
What was in the package?
There were some pages in the package. And it had crazy shit in it.
Can we have a look?
Those are gone now. I went through them and burned them. But they indicated where other materials could be found. But I just wanted to get out. I thought maybe if I could get out, maybe later I could go and pick them up, but it would require going back to England.
And who wants to do that?
I know. But then I could tell that people were, that what I'd done had set off some bells and whistles. And that there were some people who were after me. So I grabbed some stuff. I burned what I could, and I got over here. And I'm not a field agent. I needed some way to get out of Europe.
Well, maybe we could help you with that. But we need some help too, I think.
Like?
Whatever it is that you've got that made you so interesting. Everything that you know. The people you worked for back on the desk, names, places, details, anything that you know the detail. You're an analyst, right?
I know the big thing I know, and the thing I think that might be at the heart of this beyond the crazy stuff, the thing that I can confirm is that there was a set of MI6 operatives running black ops with unusual field equipment, getting deployed.
Define unusual field equipment.
When I can't tell what it is, when the equipment is listed with code numbers, and I can't find what the code numbers are. They have some kind of private training base in England, and they've shipped out. I know that what happened in Bucharest spooked them. And I know that they've been deployed in the Middle East and in Europe. But it's all sketchy. I haven't had a chance to pull much of anything together from this.
They have a name, a code name, anything.
The work name I got is Hound, for somebody working in Europe. But I think that they're a handler. I got an operation Orpheus that they were managing, and working with some sort of agricultural chemical company. Can you get me out?
Yeah. How does I'm thinking of contacting my contact Tamar, see if Tamar can liaise with some, because she's sort of like revolutionary in Iran. She probably has links to Mossad. Maybe we could get this woman sort of set up in Israel.
Do you want to mark your key contact for that?
I would,
yeah.
So
okay.
I think you'll see me typing away to Tamar and saying, we've got this hot asset that knows something about bad things going on in the Middle East, which you may be interested in as well. But can you sort of contact your Mossad contacts and set her up there? So yeah, I will mark that.
Should say, yeah, but might be a couple. That's a big thing. It might take a couple of days if you want me to do it quiet.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm sure we can sit on the asset till then.
Okay.
Procedurally, now I did use Tamar in the last sort of chunk of the
last
adventure.
mission, and it would have reset.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So it just used as a contact, and that's it, or because it's my special contact, does it do anything else?
No, I think that essentially fixes this situation. You don't get to use it for refresh. You're using it for
an advantage. Yeah. Got you. Excellent.
And I think that's probably the point at which She writes down some addresses for you, writes sketches out a few more things, and then goes and crashes and lets the four of you talk.
Fucking hell.
I think that answered quite a few things, and we know MI6 seems heavily compromised.
Yeah, but a fucking squad of super soldiers.
True. They've got to sleep at some stage, though, and they can't be in two places at once.
And you're certain of that because, Peter?
Well, just the standard laws of physics. You can't be in two places at the same time.
Just
held up so
let me
bloody
just
well.
pick you up
Yeah.
on the laws of physics then. So, the laws of physics. The laws of physics say shadows don't manifest physically. The laws of physics don't say when somebody hits you with a sniper round in center body mass, you don't keep running. Just saying, okay? So
There's been
just
plenty of people
ease
hit by
off.
sniper rounds that
Ease
carry
off
on running.
on the laws of physics.
You tell Fabi about the
think
laws
we
of
achieved a
physics,
lot.
Peter. But no, I'm glad we, I'm glad some of us kept it professional, eh, Peter?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, send a boy to do a man's job, Carl.
Please repeat the question.
And with your Texan hat, you'd have stood right in Stuttgart. You'd have been fine.
Yeah.
Or the Berlin look.
I was fine. In Italy, it said that I lost a contact over there, but yeah, it was fine.
But I think we've bounded this quite well now. We've got a lot more stuff. Plus, I think Henry could still do some work with our man in Geneva. He's going to return. Well, he might return to Geneva.
Yeah,
no Henry at all.
I'd really like to know what's on this hard drive before I front him.
That's fine. I can have a look at that.
We've got 2 hard drives, some addresses. You've got Geneva as you're clear. That's the next place to go to. Does that seem right?
Seems fine.
Okay.
To pull that stuff off the hard drives, do you want me to spend one from data recovery?
Yeah. But I think this is probably where we're going to
I think so, yeah.
Stop here. And we've got you set up. You've got some targets, and you've got some other leads here as well. Does that seem good? Okay. Then I'm going to stop recording.